Hello, good morning everybody. How the devil are we today? Glorious weather. Well, yeah, it's freezing in here, but it's really sunny outside. What's it like where you are? Hello, good morning. Where are we? Megan's been busy this week. Hi, Janet and Julia and Debbie. Sunny and Mabel thought it'd be a bit like that here, I think, this morning. Who have we got on Facebook? We've got Janet and Jackie and Anne. Morning, Denise and Jill and Beverly and Susan and Sheila. It's like the Saturday morning rapping song, isn't it? Angie and Sue and Helen and Susan and Jane and Tracy and Deirdre and Laura. Morning. And Jeanette and Sue and Kitty, and I've missed lots of you, so I do apologise. We could spend all morning doing this. Morning, Wendy. Lots of pink parcels coming your way. Hi, Annie. And Deborah. Morning from Kent. Sunny in Shropshire. Hello, Chris in New Forest. Good evening, says Robin in Pennsylvania. What am I talking about? From Melbourne, Australia, Pennsylvania. Sherry's in Wisconsin. Oh no, Chris has got COVID. Hopefully it's a mild form. Hello, Sabine. Right, I'm going to make this little pincushion. And I've used the technique before, so you may have seen it. But I think it's quite impressive if you're going to sell this or give it away, because it actually looks like you've used tiny pieces of fabric. You have actually used tiny pieces of fabric, but there is a way of making this without having to sew together 1/2 inch squares. And well, that's that. So it is quite sweet. So Lisa, this could be one that you're selling in the shop, maybe. Morning, Pamela. Morning, Julie. And Sunny in Devon. I hope it stays like this because it might actually get warm later. Morning, Sarah. Oh no, Kitty's hubby's got COVID. Banished him to another room. As long as I don't banish him to the sewing room, then that's okay. Hello. Now Monica's in Pennsylvania. Hello, Monica. Morning, Karen and Joyce. I'm really good, thank you, Alison. Did you see our Create and Craft show yesterday morning? I wanted to show you the book because I'm hoping it's going to be here next week. So Create and Craft had an exclusive. I don't know how long it's for, to be honest. I think it might be a week, but I don't know. But well, if I don't know, then as soon as we get the books, we'll post them out because nobody's told me how long their exclusive is. And I think that they did a bundle with my 2 new books, and they've still got some of those left, so you get a bit of a discount with that. So you can order there. Oh, somebody's ordered both. Oh, sorry, I missed that. Jill's driving one. Mr. Whisper is holding the phone. Hello, Mr. Whisper. This is it. So this is the book that me and Kim have written, which I'm really excited about. I'm more excited about working with my daughter than I am about having a book out, to be honest. But this is her first book as well, so this is why it's really special. And at the moment, we have been asked if we wanted to do some more collaborations and write more books together. And I said to Search Press, it's about time Kim had her own range of books. And yes, we were hoping he'd say that. So she's going to be writing her own books. We may do another one together someday, but. So this is it. It's Refashion, Restyle, Restitch, and basically we've taken garments of either our own or from charity shops and turn them into mainly homewares. So it's a little bit different to what we've seen other people doing. I think I've shown you this before, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of a heads up that it is going to be imminent when we can start sending these out. Hopefully early next week I'm going to be chasing them up. So it is on pre-order on the website. But I wanted to mention as well, so that's what we started with and that's what they end up with. So it was loads of fun. It's just coming up with the ideas. We really enjoyed it so much. And there's lots of different techniques in here as well. But I wanted to mention, if you've bought or if you wanted to buy any of the books from Create and Craft, they will have a signature on them. So me and Kim have put our names on the inside of the book. If you buy from Search Press, Amazon or anywhere else, they won't be signed because they don't come to me. They go directly from whoever's selling them. If you wanted one as a gift or personally signed to yourself, or you wanted me to leave a message inside it, Kim to leave a message inside it, then order from the Debbie Shaw Sewing website and leave me a note or drop me an email just to belt and braces that you're going to get your message put on the inside of the book, and we can do that for you there. Amanda, oh thank you, Leanna. I think it was Amanda. I just noticed one of your messages coming through about the orders going out from last Saturday. The majority of them went out on Tuesday. That was all of the new Lewis and Irene fabrics that we sold out of in about 5 minutes. Most of them went out on Tuesday for Wednesday delivery. The remainder would have gone out yesterday for delivery today if you've ordered through DPD. I'm sorry there's a bit of a delay with some of the orders there. We exceeded expectations, shall we say. It's been pretty full on this week getting the orders completed, so thank you for bearing with us. We're just about up to date now. And the Lewis and Irene fabric that we had in on Wednesday, the fat quarter bundles that went 3 minutes, we have got some more on order. They should be coming in next week, so I'll let you know when they're there. What we have got back in stock is the Bluebell Woods, and we've got these in fat quarter bundles and in half meters. So the fat quarters is 14 of the collection of 15, because one of them is run out and Lewis and Irene aren't repeating it. So there's 2 hedgehogs. Hedgehog on cream is missing. So we've got a bundle of 14 of these put together for you, and 2 of them you're not paying for. You get 2 free included in the bundle. So these are they. I'll just show you quickly because you have seen these before, but I just wanted to let you know we do have them back in stock. We do have a couple of the half meter bundles as well, and I don't think after these have gone we'll be able to get hold of any more. So just to let you know, these have gone back on this morning. Morning Lisa. Morning Paula from a sunny warm Mauritius. Oh, wish I was there. Thank you Sue. Hello Cheryl in Australia. Facebook isn't working. Facebook seems to be working here. Susan, I'm getting messages on Facebook and I can see myself on Facebook. Natasha's sending angry faces. Hello Julie. That's those anyway. Just wanted to show you there again. Karen's already got the Bluebell Wood Fat Quarter bundle. What are you making with it, Karen? Because there's so much. I'm imagining quilting, but there's so much fabric here. I mean, 14 fat quarters will be 3.5 meters. So you'd be able to make a sizable quilt with that. But is it going to be homewares or cushion covers or little girls' dresses or what? What are you doing? Hello, Anne. Facebook's fine, says Helen. Hello, Michelle. Karen, they're gorgeous, aren't they? We thought we'd try. We haven't really supplied Lewis and Irene fabrics for you before the Bluebell Woods, and we had the Easter panels. I think there's 1 Easter panel left, and they sold so quickly. We've actually got the Lewis and Irene rep coming over, so we're going to be stocking a lot of their fabrics because you like them so much. Not at the moment, Kim. We've only got the fat quarter bundles and the half meter bundles. Laura's parcel's due this afternoon. So let me see. I'll have to double check on whatever fabric they've got left over from the bundles, but at the moment, no, they're only in the bundles, I'm afraid. But going forward, we will be having more fabrics, so we'll be able to do more options for you. Right, that's all I've got to show you, really. It's a dress, and it is a Marks and Spencer's. So Marks and Spencer's do loads at the moment of these type of dresses, and I love them because they're comfy. Lois is giving a machine a deep clean. No, you're allowed. If it's sewing related, then clean away, because that's important for improved stitching. So that's absolutely fine. If you're washing up though, go just a corner now, straight away. Lovely and sunny in Leon the Soul. I don't know where that is, Linda. Thank you. Diane was reverse stitching, then my bobbin ran out, so I stepped away for a few minutes, she says, making a rangy cushion. A rangy cushion? What's a rangy? Is it a raggy cushion? I know, Lisa. It just pops up all over the place. It creeps out the woodwork. Drawstring bags for grandchildren. Just made 8. How many grandchildren have you got, Joyce? Flat packing. Have I missed something, Zell? What do you want for flat packing? Hello, Amanda in Georgia. Anyway, should we do some sewing? I'll let that go cold then. Alice has got me on Facebook. Lovely. So the trick is if you've just joined us, to make tiny little squares on your pincushion is to use a quilter's grid. Now I used a 1-inch quilter's grid for this one and I only realised I never ran out, so I've only got 2-inch quilter's grid left, but that's going to work and I'll just show you how. I'm just going to zoom in here a little bit because I think we can be closer than that, can't we? Just so you can see what I'm doing. Just wait for it to catch up, it's gone a bit fuzzy. So if you haven't seen this before, there's a 2-inch grid marked on the fabric. It's a fusible fleece, fusible interfacing, but it happens to have a grid on it. So the knobbly side is the glue side, and that's what goes on the wrong side of your fabric. But I want to make this into a 1-inch grid, so I'm going to take my ruler and my pen and just mark in between the lines like that. So if you've got a 1-inch grid, fine. We haven't even got any in stock on the shop at the moment, but 2 inches reduced down to 1 will work just as well. Or if you've got some fusible interfacing, it's got to be fusible, then you can just draw a 1-inch grid on there. I do find it easy when half the lines are already there, to be honest. And then the same in the opposite direction. Keeping it nice and accurate. This is a nice idea if you're going to do a bit of smocking as well and you've only got the 2-inch grids. So just so you don't have to rush out and buy something else when you can adapt what you already have. Paulie met her 3-month-old great-grandson last night. 8-hour journey away. Isn't it wonderful, Pauline, in these modern times where you can FaceTime people though? So you can still see him growing even though you might not see him very often. Okay. So we've got that. So I'm just going to put the iron on. It takes a hot iron. And we'll do a little bit of cutting. You'll need, I've used 4 fabrics for this one, and there are, I can't remember how many. Let me count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it was 16. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You'll need 16 squares of each of 4 fabrics. I didn't count them, to be honest, because I've only just started chopping. So they might be a bit different, but you could have 32 squares of each of 2 and make like a checkerboard effect. If you have 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 fabrics. The nice, oh hi Joan, the nice thing to do, I think, is to not have 2 the same next to each other. So it doesn't matter how many bits you have as long as you don't have 2 together, because then it'll just look like an oblong. So I've already started cutting some of these into, I cut them into 1-inch strips first, and then in turn cut those down. This is where these boards come in handy, because your fabric sticks to this. You know, you can arrange everything on the sticky bit. So already cut down into 1-inch wide strips, and then in turn we're going to cut these into 1-inch squares. So it is actually quite quick to do. I've got 2 strips I'm cutting together here. So, but I must admit I'm not counting, so I may have too many. I have too little, but we'll see how we go. Let's have a little bit of this. It's just got a fold on the end. Now I have made a video which has been scheduled on YouTube for so long I can't remember what time it's going on, but I think it's 12:30. I'll double check after I've finished and maybe bring it forward if it's too late. So that doesn't involve watching me chop up all of the bits of fabric, and I do use a 1-inch grid on there because it was the last that I had. So if you don't like the chat, hang on a couple of hours and just take a look on YouTube. The seam allowance is included, Susan. So I'm cutting 1-inch squares. There's a 1/4 inch seam allowance around each one, so that leaves you with a 1/2-inch square. So each one of these squares start out at that much. So that's included in your seam allowance. Let's just do a few more. So this looks very big, but when you consider half of that is going to be your seam allowance. Oh, by the way, you'll need 8 1-inches. So I've got 4 2-inch squares that I've made into 8. So this measures 8 inches square. Forgot to tell you that, and that's quite important. So by the time your seam allowances have halved everything, your finished cushion will be 4 inches square. Or thereabouts, you know. That will do for that. So I've got a different, oh, I've got a little bit of this. And it's quite moorish, you know, and it's quicker than you think. So there's no reason why, you know, you can't get chopping all of your strips and squares initially and then just make up a few of them. You could also make it into a lavender pouch. Doesn't have to be a pincushion, so that would make a nice little gift for somebody. So let's double those up, chop off the uneven ends, and that's another one. And I've used 2 pieces or 2 colours of fabric on the back because I was using scraps. So all of those tiny little pieces of fabric that you have, well, as long as they're bigger than 1 inch, this is a nice little project. And again, although I've used the Bluebell Woods collection, it doesn't have to be a collection. There could be plain colours, just random little bits and bobs. Got some more there, and even things like this. That was off a little bit of patchwork I was doing, but there's still enough left here that I can cut a few 1-inch squares out of that as well. So I think I might have enough there. We'll have a look. So let's take all of these. They get everywhere. It's like confetti. Okay. Then lay out your grid with the knobbly side up. That's upside down. Knobbly side facing upwards. And then we're going to arrange the squares over the top. Hi Patrice. This is what's being made, Sarah. Little pincushion. Right, so all of these I'm going to arrange first, and one of the main reasons for that is I've used heat erasable ink, haven't I? So as soon as I iron this, I think it's going to disappear. So let's just pop these on. It doesn't matter if there's a tiny gap, because remember you're going to have a 1/4 inch seam allowance in between each one of these, and it doesn't really matter if they overlap at some point very slightly, as long as it's not by more than 1/4 inch. Or could have had another colour in here actually. Let's see how we go. Just keep adding until you think it looks okay. And at this point, because you know, I haven't ironed anything down, if I think, oh no, there's too many dark ones too close together, then I can swap them around. Pop that there. It's quite good fun actually. So make sure you're not in a drafty place, because these will be blowing around all over the place. And just keep arranging until you've got the whole of this covered. Again, if you have a look on the YouTube video, this is either speeded up or skipped, so you don't have to sit and watch me do all of this if you think it's a little bit tedious. Some of your comments. Have a trouble getting sick. Oh, you're in the caravan, Linda. How lovely. Where are you? Nice to finally watch you live. Oh, hello, Sarah. Welcome along to the live. If you're new, come and say hello. We'll say hello back to you, because we're a pleasant bunch. Well, you know, apart from Lisa. That little pincushion could be a cushion for my... That's a nice idea. Maddie needs a house, doesn't she? I was just thinking like the doll house, but it'd be huge because Maddie's 20 inches tall, but it could be done, I suppose. Oh, that's a nice idea, Lisa. What's she dressed in? Lisa's made a Maddie for a charity 15th birthday raffle in June. I hope she makes a fortune for you. Oh, thank you, Cynthia. She's just ordered our book on pre-order. I'm hoping they're going to come in next week. Normally, after one of the shopping channels, whoever does them, has their exclusive, then the books come in pretty quickly, and I'm all labelled up and enveloped and ready to go for when they get here. And remember, if you do want the book signing, we'll both sign it, but just leave a message in the customer notes or drop me an email. And just make sure that we get it signed for you. Could have had a few more colours. I don't think I've got enough of the pale blue. It's like doing a jigsaw puzzle, but all of the pieces fit. I think I might cut some more of the blue, actually. No, we'll get on with this. So I would have liked more colours, but I do say to use 4 colours. And 16 of each of those, remember. But we seem to have 3. There we go. Megan's made a backpack. Morning, Jacqueline. Laura got carried away and ordered the book and the bag bundle yesterday. Well done. It was a good deal, wasn't it? I have to say that if you haven't seen it, have a look on the Create and Craft website. They have done quite a good bundle of 2 books with a free pattern that's worth £10. So I hope you enjoy it. Still got loads to go, so just chat amongst yourselves if you like, or good time to go and put the kettle on. Not something that I could have prepped beforehand. Oh, I just noticed, look, it's almost like I deliberately fussy cut that one. I might need some more colours actually. I'm running out of spaces so that 2 pieces of the same don't sit together. It's actually quite quick when we've done all of this, so it's worth putting up with me for a little while we do this, because as soon as you iron them down, that's it, you can start sewing. There we go. I'll have another one of you. Oh, there. We're doing quite well for not getting 2 together at the moment. One of you there, and that one there. And again, if they do overlap very slightly, don't worry about it, as long as it's not more than 1/4 of an inch, because that is going to be your seam allowance. So missing one there, that one there, one here, and one there. I've got 2 together there. Look, you didn't point that out, did you? And so what can go in there? Oh, that can be a turquoise. Right, I just need to cut two more, because I don't have 2 that are different, if that makes sense. So one of those. It is actually quite quick when you consider this is kind of from scrap. Oh, you did see it. You're on the ball, you lot are. That can go there. We can have a green one over there. Have I missed any spaces? Apart from that one, because I need a different colour in there. And I'm kind of thinking a blue. There. That will jolly well do. Let's move all of these bits out of the way. And then again, hot iron, no steam, because you don't want to blast the squares off. And we're just going to iron these down. So, because they're quite small, if you wanted to use the end of your tweezers or something like that to hold them in place as you iron, then that might be an idea. Just keep your fingers away from them. So we can just do that and hold them down. Hold them down. That's it. And again, not worried about tiny little gaps. That's easier, isn't it? And a hot and iron as your fabric will take. And that's melting the knobbly bits, which is the glue, on the back of the fabric. Oh no! Oh, you come off there. Did anybody see that one? Got two together. I'll stick another one in there in a second. It's really satisfying. It's actually really quite easy as well. It's nice to get creative like this, because if you make another one, it's not going to be exactly the same. And if two of you are going to make these, no two are going to be exactly the same, are they? But I just think it's such a great way of using up tiny pieces of fabric. Whoops. But because we've used the grid, when we start to sew this together, you'll see that you get perfect points without even trying. You can probably get where we're going with this one now, can't you? Let's have that one in there. There, I think that'll do. Cindy's got Cove a bit on the mend. Oh no. Today Caroline just got back from milking. She says we're making a little patchwork pincushion, but I'm using a quilter's grid on the wrong side of it, and that's how you get these tiny little squares to match up perfectly with perfect points without worrying about it. So let's do that. I mean, imagine if you were sewing these little pieces, they're 1/2 inch square as they end up. I don't think I'd be able to do it. Okay, so I just want to make sure that this is well and truly stuck down. I don't want any of those lifting up. So if you just joined us, on the back of this is a 2-inch quilter's grid. So it's a fusible interfacing with 2 inches marked on there. I'd normally use a 1 inch, but I couldn't find it, ran out of it. So I drew lines in between the 2-inch squares to make them into 1-inch squares. And now we're going to sew. So just organise my space. Move that out of the way. So now, could have moved down a bit, I think. No, it's okay. These kind of automatically want to fold. It's almost like they're hinged. So I'm going to let's start at one end and just fold it over right sides together along the edges of the squares, and we're going to sew down here with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So let me see. Oh, I wasn't sure if that one was on. Let me just move things around so I can see you. That's it. Okay. So quite a small stitch. I'm going to use a 2.2 because it's a small project, small stitch, and sew straight down the crease. So we've got that. And then we're going to do the same on every one of those crease lines. So there's the next one. You can iron it if you wanted to give that a really good crease before you sew. But just make sure you've got the edge of the squares all lined up together in a straight line. And sew. So you can see what's happening now. So we're going to sew all the way down all of these lines, and then I'll iron it with all of the seams going to one direction, and then we do the same in the opposite direction. So it does actually come together quite quickly. Jen loves it. She's got some 2 inch somewhere. 2 inch or 1 inch, Jen. I mean, if you're making a bigger project, cut out 2 inch squares, and then you could make it into a full-size cushion cover, or a tote bag, or a sewing machine mat, or whatever it is you want to, really, because you're just creating a piece of patchwork fabric. But it's good fun. I enjoy doing this, but it's really satisfying when it all comes together. And when you show somebody that doesn't sew or hasn't seen the technique before, as I said before, it just looks as though you've painstakingly sewn tiny pieces of fabric squares together. Let them think you have. There we go. So I'll just carry on doing these. They do, Elsie, don't they? It's a very simple technique, but it does look very effective. Oh, Jen's got some Disney fabric, making something for a daughter. Leanne, I think she's inside. She's been a bit lazy this morning. That's Bobby, my dog. She did come down. She wanted to come out this morning, and considering it was really sunny and not a drop of rain anywhere, I had to kick her out the kitchen. Come on. But she came down, had a wee, went back in again. So I think she's just gone back to bed. Don't know why. I've got my coffee. Oh, Sheila, hopefully I'm going to get another coffee. I did come down with the coffee this morning, but it's gone cold. Always the case. I'm convinced my tulips are thriving on decaf Nescafe. Because I've got two, oh, they're lovely. I'll take a picture actually, they're really coming out. I've got two rather large terracotta plant pots jam-packed full of tulip bulbs, and I bought them like that, so I don't know what colour they are. And they've just started, they're that big now, they've just started flowering. They're yellow, which is my favourite colour for tulips. So yeah, they're looking gorgeous, but they're right outside the door here. So when I leave and my coffee's cold, obviously I trick it in with the tulips. They seem to like it. Oh, thank you, hello. 359 on YouTube. That's a lot, isn't it? Who's on, how many we've got on Facebook? Not that it matters, it's 357, about the same. Still be here if there's only 2 of you. Everyone is slightly strong. Oh, talking amongst yourselves, I think. Love it when you do that. My daughter would love your tippip. Tippip? What's your tippip, Karen? Don't you love spell check? How do you sew down each square line? I'll show you in a sec. In fact, it might be easier to have a look at the YouTube video later, because I don't know if you're going to be able to see now. So the grid's on the back. This has already got 1-inch markings on it. Cut out your 1-inch squares and iron them on. So this is a fusible quilter's grid, and then wherever, so you iron those in rows, and then you're just going to fold the rows over, and you've got an automatic line. It's almost like a hinge, or like it's been scored. It wants to fold over and be sewn there. So it's actually a really simple technique. So I'm going to just press these over to one side. It shrinks a lot. It's going to shrink by half. If you're going to make this bigger, so if you wanted to make a bag out of it, or I might do that actually. I think that's one nice idea. Tote bag. If you wanted to make something larger, you've got 2-inch squares. If you use a 1/4 inch seam allowance, the squares are going to end up as 1.5. So because these are 1 inch with a 1/4 inch seam allowance, that's 1/2 inch. So this shrinks down by half. So my original grid was 8 inches square. It's going to end up as 4 inches square. If you're using the 2-inch squares and you're making something bigger, remember they're not going to shrink by half. So you'll have a little bit more fabric to play with then. Yes, Caroline, it's a quilter's grid. I don't know what make it, Bosal quilter's grid. I'm sure other people do it, but this one happens to be a Bosal. And this has got a 2-inch grid already marked onto it. You can buy 1-inch grids, but we can't get hold of them at the moment. So that's why I drew the lines in between to make it into 1-inch grids. 8 inches square, Elsie. Oh, thank you. Bluekie, is it Bluekie or Bluekie? What a lovely name. Every day is new and exciting, and I will live this day as if it were my last. What a lovely attitude to have, isn't that? Oh, missed one there. So I'm ironing all the seam allowances all in one direction. Oh, Denise has ordered the book bundles. The ironing board, Sarah, is on my website. It's debbieshawsewing.com. And it's not just a little ironing board. We've got the mini irons, we've got the silicone mats as well. I use all of those. When you open this up, it's a cutting mat, an A4 cutting mat, and you've got a piece here that you can use. It's really useful actually for projects like this. So if you've got any spares, bits and bobs, or tiny pieces, or your foundation paper piecing or patchworking, your fabric sticks to that. That keeps it in place, and then you're ready to go. And it's padded on both sides, so you can iron it on. You can iron on both sides of it. Right. I did make one. Thank you, Alexis. I didn't make this particular one, but I did make an ironing mat without the cutting mat and everything on the inside. I think it was January the 2nd last year. That was on Facebook. Okay. So now we've gone in one direction, we're going to fold in this direction, like so. And I'm going to sew, you see how I've ironed all of the seam allowance going in the same direction? That's because it's easier to sew if you sew down. If I'm sewing in that direction, the foot's going to get caught in all of these bits. So I'm going to sew down that way. And just like before, 1/4 inch. And away we go. That'd help, wouldn't it? So fold it over. I did have a bit of a gap in between those two pieces, so I'm just going to make sure that that's covered, which it will be, because you can see through this quilter's grid. So I can make sure I am catching fabric in each one. So now we don't want to see any gaps, we don't want to see any raw edges, because that's how it's going to be when it's finished. So fold that again, and here you go. And we'll go all the way across like that. Thank you, Laurie. As you can use interfacing, make sure it is fusible. It's got to be fusible. And don't use heat erasable ink to draw the lines. You can draw with a biro. You know, this is well within the seam allowance. You won't see those lines at all, so don't worry about that. They'll easily do a 1-inch quilter square. Lovely. So if you wanted a 1 inch, then there you go. We don't have any in the shop at the moment. Oh, well done, Maxine. Just retired from the NHS after 37 years. That's commendable. Enjoy your retirement. Best press would do, Rosina. Yes, I'm going to best press the whole lot when it's finished, just to keep it nice and crisp. But yes, doing that as you go along would help as well. Shelves finish. I'm going to fill them with fabric, says Zell. I hope that isn't fabric on shelves for decoration. I hope it does come down off the shelves at some point. I don't know what Taylor's interfacing is. If it's fusible and lovely and soft, I would imagine that's going to be absolutely fine, Deirdre. Sarah's going to the quilt and stitch show. Okay, almost done. I did make a cosmetic bag using this technique on, I think I used 2-inch squares on that one with a 1-inch grid. Can't remember, it was a while ago. But there is a YouTube video. If you go on to my YouTube channel and look at, I can't remember what it's called. There's videos, but then there's kind of collections of videos all put together. So there's one on bag making, there's one on cushion covers, there's one of my favourite projects, and there's one on patchwork. It's in the patchwork section. Right, so I've got that, and it's really curly. So I'm just going to pull it apart and just make sure again I've got all of the edges. You end up with these perfect points because you can't help it, which would be nigh on impossible if you were going to join together little strips of fabric. And now I'm going to give that a little blast of best press. Alright. Mini charm pack would be ideal. What size is mini charm packs? You get little tiny, are they 2-inch pieces? I can't remember. But yeah, as long as they're 1 inches or larger, that's absolutely fine. I can just easier to iron them all in one direction again. Methinks. Playlist, thank you, Megan. Had a moment of memory loss there for a second. I've got a thread there that I don't want. So it will lay flat, obviously, when it's been sewn together. So don't worry too much about this curling. It won't be finished off like that. Okay. So that should now measure 4 inches square. Maybe a little bit squiffy.
Who's squiffy? Gin? Coffee?
Gin, honestly.
Teas?
Can you tip that one in my tulips?
It's someone else there.
Thank you. The finished size is going to be 4 inch square. This is going to be 4.5 inch because we've still got the seam allowance around the edge, haven't we? I do enjoy the mathematics of sewing, I have to say. Right. So you may want to trim that a little bit. Always happens. I don't know why. It should be perfectly square, but it doesn't quite happen. So let's trim this down to 4.5 inches square. And there we go. Always looks neater when it's trimmed, doesn't it? 4.5 is there, and then 4.5 there, and then we'll make the back for it, which I'm going to do in 2 colours again because I think it's quite nice. So I need one piece of fabric measuring 4 inches across by 5 inches, about 2 pieces measuring 4.5 by 5 inches, because we're going to put the seam right across the back there, so we're going to have a 1/2 inch seam allowance inside that seam. So let's pop these together and just trim off that selvage. So I've got just 5 inches there, look. So 4.5 inches across, 5 inches down. Come off. Right. So don't need ruler anymore. Don't need cutting mat anymore. We're going to sew these 2 pieces together, save those for the next one, across the long side. So that's the 5-inch edge. That's right. So these are going to go together with a 1/2 inch seam allowance, with a gap so I can turn it the right side out. So that's about 1/2 inch. So I'm going to leave a turning gap of about 2 inches, so quite small. Sheila's just bought a rotary cutter. She says she needs practice. I'm just going to press this seam open. I wouldn't be without my rotary cutter. Do practice with it. You're going to get very quick, very straight, very even lines. And I love them. I think we've got the Alpha ones in stock at the moment. And one of the reasons, if you want to be really accurate, when you think about it, we go on that one. When you're cutting with a pair of scissors, it doesn't matter how many pattern weights you use or anything else. When your scissors go underneath there, you're lifting up the fabric. So if you want to be really, really accurate, you're not going to be able to achieve that perfectly with a pair of scissors. Whereas, of course, when you're cutting with a rotary cutter, you're cutting flat. And particularly for smaller pieces. Cutting in straight lines, I can do if I concentrate a lot. It takes me a while. Rotary cutter, ruler, you've got a straight line straight away. And try, when you're a little bit more confident, if you're new to it, cutting out freehand. I find it, I've got a 28mm rotary cutter that I cut patterns out with. So obviously on a mat, always use a cutting mat, but if you're cutting around small curves and intricate bits, again, if you're lifting up with a pair of scissors to do that, it's not as accurate as it is when you're cutting out with a rotary cutter. And it's just like drawing with a pen. But again, that may take some practice. Kim does a lot of dressmaking. She probably makes an outfit a day some weeks. That looks big. Cut that wrong, didn't I? And she's always used the rotary cutter. Even when she first started dressmaking, she's always found that a lot easier. I think I've got the measurements on. Well, I did get the measurements wrong, didn't I? 4.5 inches by 3 inches. We should have cut those. I got it right on the YouTube video, I think. But what I'm going to do, that's my back with the hole in the middle for turning. So I'm just going to place that over the centre. And then cut round it. That's your fault. Your fault for chatting while I'm sewing. Yeah, do Tilly. This will be on YouTube in a bit. Can't remember what time. I think it was 12 o'clock. Can't remember. I'll have a look. Alright, so I'm just going to trim that down. I think I need a new blade. Or a bit more pressure. That'll be fine. I'm not going to cut the very short sides off. And then we'll sew all the way around the edge, again with that 1/4 inch seam allowance. I use a builder ruler with handles. That's a good idea. I bought one of those, like a big, I've got a 1 metre metal rule with a handle on it. It's been put in big pieces of fabric. Gives you a bit more confidence, doesn't it? But you can buy handles with sucker pads. Millwood do them. We've got those on the website. So they've got like two suction pads in the handle, so you stick it onto the ruler and then you can hold it away from your blade if you get a bit nervous about using them. What was that about me? Coffee? I do drink black coffee. I don't like milk. No, missed that one. Sorry. Wants to know 6mm piping cord is the same as. Didn't see the first bit of your message. I'm sorry about that. If the 6mm piping cord is the same as, I don't know what you meant because it was cut off at that point. I've done that bit. Right, that's it. Then I'm just going to cut across the corners. So YouTube's just disappeared behind Facebook. What's the phone bag? Oh, good. I'm glad you like that one, Marion. The little phone bag that I use that a lot. I don't know if I've brought it down here actually. I did. It's at the back of the set there. But that's what I use when I'm out walking Bob. Can't find my Pincushion, so I may as well use my new one. Sheila can't get on with the rotary cutter. I couldn't do without mine, Sheila. I use it for most things. I have a few of them just in case. Just in case one goes blunt and I can't be bothered to change the blade, really. Oh, happy birthday, Jill. She's having a birthday sewing morning. Right, so let's turn this the right way out. You know I don't mean it, Lisa. Cannot get on with the rotary cutter. I think it's worth persevering a little, personally. I mean, it's not use what you like, but I love mine. Telling everyone you're horrible. I'll get told off now. She's going to write to me in capitals in a minute. Jill's just making the phone bag. Waiting for the poster to give her a pink package, says Karen. Hopefully it won't be too long. We've got a new website launching hopefully on Tuesday, by the way. And we should have some lovely new fabrics for you. We should have some new patterns for you as well. And I just need to whiz back here, because I forgot to bring my toy filler and I keep it in a bag in the drawer there. Could get up and walk, but it's quite nice being on wheels. There we go. So, happy birthday. Oh, that's nice. Everybody's wishing happy birthdays. What was I going to say? Oh, yes. So Tuesday, hopefully Tuesday. It might be Wednesday before we can get the new stuff on. There will be the batwing top that I designed as a downloadable pattern. We have some gorgeous new jerseys coming in as well. We have some double gauze and some simplicity patterns and some baby patterns. Double gauze is ideal for baby clothes, but even summer clothes and blouses and floaty dresses and things like that. And we've got some gorgeous prints coming up in it. And I think next Wednesday I'll. If you don't know what double gauze is, I'll bring some in and we'll take it to pieces and I'll show you how it works and what it is and all that kind of thing. Lisa's waiting for little plant pots. I was thinking actually, I was decorating my set this morning. I've actually made 3 of those little plant pots. But if you want them to sell in your shop, I was going to send them down to you. Hello, Sylvia from Germany. She's on wheels because she's due. Lisa, you know me too well. Well, it is nearly midday, isn't it? You're allowed to have a little tipple that early in the morning. What? Yes, Sarah. Yeah, it's not. A TV isn't for everybody. And she had said before, in fact, right at the beginning when I said we're going to launch the book on TV, I said, you'll have to go. I can't go on my own when it's a book that we've both written. And she said all along, I don't think I'll be able to do that. So she was there and she was in the studio and I think she had a nice day, but she decided it wasn't for her, so that's fine. No problem, Lisa. So I'm just stuffing this as tightly as I can. Sarah wants to know, what Sarah wants to know is 6 p.m. Same as oh, sorry, 6mm is the same as drawstring cord. Yeah, Anne, I think it is. I'd use it for a drawstring. 6mm would be about the right size. Maybe, well, it depends on the size of whatever it is you're making. If it was a drawstring for a backpack or that kind of size bag, I think 6mm would be fine. If it was a smaller bag, then I'd use an 8mm. But I like using piping cord for drawstrings. I think it looks quite nautical, doesn't it? But remember, most cords are cotton. Do check on that. But if you've got a cotton one, then you could dye it. Andrew bought handles from the website. I think I'm a bit behind on Facebook, aren't I? I think I am. Piping cord the same as drawstring. Yeah. Well, it depends. No, you can't. You can buy cord, which is like a nylon and it's coloured, a bit like round shoelaces that you can get, that kind of thing. So that's probably more drawstring cord, but there's no reason why you can't use piping cord for drawstring. I quite like it. Linda's been busy. What's that then, Lynn? Oh, the ruler with the handle. Sorry. The picture's really little, I couldn't see it. Thank you. That's on Amazon. They do them on there apparently. Oh, I'm way behind with this. Sorry about that. Somebody's birthday. Is piping cord and drawstring cord interchangeable? I think we've done that, haven't we? Use it in a lock position when cutting. Oh, okay, Valerie. I've never done that. Because you can lock them, can't you? I was a bit scared about locking them out just in case I drop it or something. But yes, that's a good idea. And when you are cutting, another little tip for you. I'll sew that up in a minute. Just get my mat out. And so I've got YouTube's now gone in front of the software that allows me to see you. There we go. So when you put your fabric down, make sure you hold this flat. Spread your fingers apart. We don't want it slipping. You can buy a grippy spray. You can buy grippy dots that go onto the wrong side of these. I've never used them. So lots of weight distribution, if you like. Don't put your fingers right up to the edge because you'll slice the end off. These things are really sharp. So press down firmly, and then when I cut, I'll cut at a slight angle. So I don't cut straight down at a right angle to the ruler because there's a chance I could wobble. But if you angle the cutter very slightly away from the edge of the ruler, I find I get a much more accurate cut. I think I really do need a new blade. Because it kind of pushes the blade into the ruler, not too far over that you're going to kind of slip or anything, but just very slight angle just away from the edge of the ruler, I find helps it to sit there. And one of the reasons I love the rotary cutter is because you can cut the tiniest amounts off. So if you just a little bit that's fraying, you can cut slithers away. There's a few frayed pieces on the edge here, and if you don't want them, you can just trim them away like tiny little bits. And I can't do that with scissors. I don't know about you. So there's lots of reasons why I love mine. Thank you, Helene. Right. What's happening with Facebook? Well, they on both. I don't know if you've done this before. I think it's very much like when you're watching messages coming up. I can see that the coffee's evaporating. They scroll, so that's what I'm seeing. And Facebook's for some reason stopped scrolling. When you do clothes making, would you double up with Kimberly to do chur on something simple to make? Vicky, we're looking at a no-waste waistcoat for next month, which is one of Kim's ideas. So we make them on together and do that. It depends when she's up and when I need to get the video made by, because she lives in London, which is quite a long way from me. A true cut rotary cutter, there's a track on their rulers. Oh gosh, yes, have you... there's simplicity to those, don't there? I'm sure we had those on Crate and Craft donkeys years ago. Oh, Papa's in a hospital bed. Oh, I hope you're going to get better soon. Lots of lovely thoughts coming over to you from everybody, I'm sure. It's still the same name, Denise, but it's got a little bit of addition. So it will be Debbie Shaw Sewing as normal. So you go to the same place and you type in the same thing into Google or anything else. It'll be exactly the same name, but there is like a sub name underneath it, and it says the Daisy Lane Sewing Company, because we're branching out into other products and projects as well. So we're not splitting into two, but there will be a Daisy Lane section which is going to be downloads and patterns and things like that. Not many to start with. We're just kind of slowly building that, but there will be different categories popping up over the next few years. And she came along to the studio, and she just got a bit nervous. So we're not going to put you through that. If you don't want to do it, then don't. So she was in the studio, and she was chipping in a little bit when Nigel was talking to her, but she just decided she didn't want to go on air. So you can't make people be confident like that, can you? If you don't want to do it, you don't want to do it. Right, we are up to date there. Hello Lynette, hello Celeste. And no waste. Zell, that was part of my thinking. You don't need a waist for a no waste waistcoat. What a good idea. Size 26, Helene, which I think offhand is a 54-inch bust. Yeah, I don't, maybe one day, but it's quite a. Jane will have a name. We'll sign our names, but it won't be personal. But yes, the ones on Create and Craft are signed. Yeah, it's. I think because I've been working in TV since 1979. It's what I do, so I find it really easy. But I've seen quite a few. I've met quite a few people that even Gary says I couldn't do it. I couldn't go on TV and do that. What am I scrolling back to? Eleanor. How far am I going back to get your tip? Can you put it on again, Eleanor? Because I've gone back about 3 days and I can't see your message. And I do like a tip. I'll see you Wednesday, Leanna. Heartbeat. Oh, Rosina, I don't know. I don't know because I never used to watch it. I can't even remember what the episode was called. I'll try and find out. And I'll let you know. Joe's got a pink parcel. Oh, yes. Making and creating more clothes and gift ideas for babies on the website. If I get time, yes. What you making on Wednesday? Don't know yet. I don't know. I was trying to get really ahead with everything that I'm making, but I've got behind again because I've had rather a busy week this week. Just going to sew this open and closed here because I haven't finished this project yet, have I? So needle and not enough thread, and I'm just going to use a ladder stitch to close that over. So yes, new website. We're hopefully web designers have gone through a company that transfer over all information from the previous website, including any outstanding orders, but there shouldn't be any by Tuesday, and all of your information and passwords. So it shouldn't be any different for you. I'm hoping that you don't have to re-register or anything like that. It just carries on as normal. So it may look a little bit different. Looks better, actually. Really pleased with the way that it looks. And Pass on Wednesday had a pretty print colour. And we'll have all these new products and new categories and things like that. So I was really excited about it. Anyway, here we go. So little ladder stitch on there. So that goes inside there so that the knot is on the inside. And you're right, Sarah, she is very proud of the book, and I'm very proud of my daughter. So there will be hopefully many more books to come from her. She's got a fabric range coming out in October, which is beautiful. We saw it when we went up to the Craft Cotton Company. They had a bloggers day on Thursday. So I'm not a blogger for the Craft Cotton Company, but it's a good excuse for a free lunch. And they had samples of the new fabrics, and it's beautiful. So yes, very, very proud of my daughter. I don't have a video on paper piecing, Janet, I'm afraid. Oh, I missed a question earlier on. Half square triangles. The whole of, I don't think I've got it here. The first block of the month that we did on the Half Yard Club was a half square triangle quilt. So every block, there was 12. Every one of those 12 blocks was half square triangles, but the designs of the blocks were different. So it was different ways of using half square triangles. So that's all I've got. You can buy, oh, hang on a minute. You can buy rotary cutter sharpeners. Never used one. Do they work? You've seen a rotary blade sharpener. Oh, okay. I should maybe look in. Oh, I should maybe look into getting some of those. Oh yes, Claire, we will be selling Kim's fabric and lots of it. It's gorgeous. I don't know if I've even got a picture of it. Oh, that's a text from my dentist to remind me I'm having extractions next week. Oh, shouldn't have picked that one up. Let me see what we've got here. No, I don't want memories and featured. I don't want any of that. I want Kim's fabric. So those are the, so these are, they call them strike off. So it's like the first fabric that is sent through. So there's 5 in the collection, and I can't turn that around, can I? It'll move. And it's all foraging and botanicals, and there's little teacups and reading books with things coming out of them. That's like a patchwork one. That's my favourite one, with different designs on each one. It's absolutely beautiful. So I can't wait for that one coming out. But that's not till October. It takes ages, doesn't it? Thank you, Debbie. I should pass that on to her. I don't know if she's watching this morning. Right. Jean's got a blade sharp. Maybe we'll look at getting some blade sharpeners in. You can go in there. So I'm finished. So there's my first. I've done that, haven't I? Just let me do that. Don't know how I did that. So just the same as the first one, but again, although I've used the Bluebell wood Lewis and Irene fabric, because I had some bits left over from other things that I was making from it. You only need tiny little bits, but imagine this in black and white, or in 3 colours, or 10 colours. Definitely good taste bin fabric. But if you do have, you know, tiny scraps, it's only been made not that tiny, from pieces of fabric that big. So I mean, maybe even too small for crumb quilting, but you would be able to make that. So it's only made from 1-inch squares. So there will be a video. Elsie, I'm not sure where in the States you'll be able to buy it. It's Lewis and Irene fabric. You can buy from our shop, and we distribute to the States, but you find the postage is quite a lot. I think it's £16.50. But we do have. She's not here today, is she? Can't see names. No, Nancy. Nancy's one of our regulars. We don't have a USA supplier, Elsie. We're a shop, so no, we're a retailer, so we don't have suppliers in the States. But I'm sure Lewis and Irene would have suppliers over there if you Googled them. So we can ship if you order from my shop, but it's worthwhile if you're ordering a lot of fabric. But if you only want to order a couple of pieces, you could end up spending as much on postage as you do on the actual fabric. Thank you, Lisa. I'll get some stuff in the post to you. Give it a try one day. Yeah, it's actually really quick. I mean, most of those squares I've cut up within this hour, so it's a nice little hour-long project if you needed something. And again, if you wanted to put some kind of dried lavender or essence in there, you could make that into put a ribbon on it and make it into a little lavender pouch. Clutch bag, I think it'd be lovely as a clutch bag. Maybe with an occasional sparkly bit on there would be nice as well. Thank you, Alison. Oh, Karen, you've got a very nice husband. Daisy can't wait for a pink parcel. Gonna have a go at this one. Thank you, Sarah. Okay, then I shall pop off. I shall see you again. Again, I don't know, so I've just got things in the way. I don't know what I'm doing on Wednesday as yet. Oh yes, I do. Hang on a minute, just bear with me. That goes there. I was going to show you the double gauze. By Wednesday, the website should be up and running. So I shall show you around the new products that we have and the downloadable pattern for my back wing top. And then I thought I might sew in the neckline on it, because I know that's going to be the question that gets asked more than anything. You could Julie, that's a good idea. Pink Parcel by DPD, lovely. Yeah, so we'll do that. We won't make a project per se, but we'll put a neckline into a jersey top. Okay then, I think I shall go and take my dog for a walk in this sunshine. So I hope you enjoy the rest of your day and your weekend, and thank you for joining me today. I shall see you again on Wednesday. Bye bye.